Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on stage Professor Mile Gietzman, Chair of the 2018 EAA Annual Congress.
Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome all of you on behalf of the accounting department here at the University of Bocconi. We really are pleased to see you all and genuinely surprised just how many people have decided to come to Milan. We really hope you have a very pleasant and productive visit here. And what I'm just going to go through now is just a very short presentation of the program so you have some idea of the logistics of what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to have the opening session, which I'll discuss in a moment. Freudian slip. For some reason, this keeps jumping. I'll put it down. We'll have the opening session now, and then the first two parallel sessions with symposia, and then the welcome reception this evening, which we hope you will all attend. When we were at Valencia last year, we celebrated the 40th Congress of the European Accounting Association. But since the European Accounting Association started with a Congress, this is actually the celebration of the 40th year with the 41st Congress, if anyone thinks that we can't add up or something like that. In the opening session, I have pleasure to invite the Dean of SDA, Bocconi, to come and give us a talk, followed by the President of the EAA, Philip Hughes, that probably all of you know. But then we have a keynote plenary speaker, Paolo Gianturco, who's going to talk about blockchain, whether controversially is blockchain the future of accounting or not. And Paolo has said he's just going to give us some sort of introduction to the topic because it is quite a complicated topic. But I know I've seen some of the presentation. I'm very interested to hear what he has. And then he'll have a short video afterwards to explain some more of the concepts. Just so you think we don't just work in Italy, we also have a cultural side to our program. We're very pleased to include some classical pianists at the end of the program, and then we can withdraw to outside and have a coffee before we start the sessions formally. Something a bit different today because it is the 40th anniversary. We wanted to pay tribute to two of the founding fathers of the European Accounting Association. Obviously, these are not the only people that were involved in the initial forming of the organization, but these are two of the most prominent, Anthony Hopwood and Dieter Odelheider. And Christopher Napier has very kindly agreed to talk for 10 minutes about Anthony and Christian Leutz about Dieter. And then Bob Scapens will talk for about 10 minutes about some recollections of the European Accounting Association over the last 40 years. And then we'll start the celebrations for the 40th year. We're planning a little surprise, so it's worth coming to the beginning of the welcome reception because after the three talks, we will have a little Italian surprise for you all before we start having some food and drink outside. That's the program today. We consciously have left the program for Thursday evening free so that you can enjoy some of this wonderful city, the cultural things to visit. Or, for example, there's obviously issues, lots of cuisine and things that you need to really experience. My own personal suggestion to you is while you're here in Milan, you should try Milanese aperitivo. And a place that's very popular with locals here is the Navili area, which is just about 2 kilometers to the west of Bocconi, which is a short walk. And I think you'll probably find something like 50 or 60 aperitivo bars, so I'm sure you'll be able to find somewhere. Friday evening, we'll all have done a lot of work attending seminars and giving our papers. We want to have a bit of a celebration at the end. So we will start with a musical prelude at 8 o'clock and then a gala reception buffet. Our caterers, I think, have done a really good job, and they've chosen regional foods from all over Italy. So if you want to try food from Tuscany, Emilia-Romagna, Liguria, Veneto, or any of these other wonderful provinces, areas of Italy, please come along to the gala reception on the Friday evening. We talk about the accounting department. Some people know us very well, others don't. We have 32 permanent faculty and 12 adjunct or visiting professors. I'd like to talk a little bit about recruitment. Probably a lot of you know we've just appointed 2 new full professors, Peter Pope and Anita Floru, and each year we are appointing 1 new assistant professor. This is a steady state for the last 4 years, and we hope to be able to continue appointing 1 new assistant professor going forward for the next couple of years. We're also, besides, obviously very seriously involved in research, developing new courses, and just to give you an example, 3 initiatives we have in the department at the moment is we now have an undergraduate course in blockchain for business, which will start in September. We believe this is the first undergraduate course in blockchain in Europe, but if anyone can tell me differently, we're quite happy to hear about it. We also, this year, had a very successful course on big data analytics in a business and accounting setting, and some of my colleagues ensuring that integrated reporting and the principles of integrated reporting are included throughout the syllabus, particularly in the management accounting part of the course. Just very quickly, some conference statistics. We're generally surprised just how many people have come. It's 1,700 applicants to the Congress, and more than 1,300 research papers were submitted. And thanks to the scientific committee, we actually have more than double the number of papers, nearly 100 this year, that have discussants. I would just like to give a few acknowledgements. Joke that I have the A team, Annalisa, Ariella, and Angelo, the Treasurer, Deputy Chair, and Secretary General. That really should read the people that did all the work, in addition to Silvia Malandrino, who was the lead administrator, who also put in a huge effort here at Bocconi, and also Nicole Koopman, who was the representative of the EAA that really did a lot of liaising with us and helping us. Finally, just before I say a few closing words, I would also like to acknowledge the sponsors, gold, silver, and other sponsors, and we also have quite a few exhibitors. I'd in particular like to thank the gold sponsors, Audit Analytics, PwC, and Deloitte, who generously supported the Congress and made this Congress possible. And I'd also like to thank all of those sponsors who were silver sponsors or other sponsors. So just to end my talk with perhaps, hopefully, an amusing note, I have a few apologies to make. And the first one is about what you're not going to see in Milan, what you're not going to see. So, excuse me, for any of you who know anything about Italy, you'll know that neither of these things occur in Italy. The first one, Frappuccino, which I believe you have to travel to the United States to get. You're probably not going to find it locally around here in Milan. The other thing which I must say came as a surprise to me, but may also come as a surprise to you, is that spaghetti bolognese, nothing about it is Italian. First of all, spaghetti is a seafood pasta, and there are pastas that go with meat, but I would be very surprised at a restaurant that served spaghetti bolognese. And if you did, you were probably in the wrong restaurant. Finally then, and I think we've learnt to be concerned about false news, that we have to be a little bit careful what we read in the press. And I was recently reading something in the UK press claiming that there were extreme shortages of Prosecco predicted in the UK. Well, I can confirm to all of you here while you're in Milan, there is no known shortage of Prosecco. And as far as we know, all the Enotecas and restaurants have more than enough supplies for all of your needs. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce now Professor Beppe Soda, Dean of the SDA Bocconi School of Management.
Thank you so much. So good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Bocconi University, of the President Mario Monti, the Rector Gianmario Verona, and myself, welcome to Bocconi. And I have to say, happy birthday to the association. I mean, 40 years is a wonderful age, maybe the best, because anything can be, anything is possible, but you can also get the best from the experience you had. So happy birthday. So I gave a look to the program of the conference and to the list of the participants, and I have to commend the organizer and the association for the impressive quality of the papers, even though I'm not part of this community. But I understood how vibrant, dynamic, and passionate is this community. But let me say that you can find the same passion and the same commitment in the students, the scholars, and the staff you will bump into our urban campus. If you are not familiar with this city, our campus is really urban. We can just walk northeast for less than 10 minutes and reach our Cathedral Square, Piazza Duomo. So thank you so much, and give me the chance to share with you a brief description of our university that is continuously changing, by the way. Again, if you walk southwest, you can see our new campus. Just to give you a GPS where we are, essentially, if you see the red arrow, we are now there. But this is our campus, and the new campus you see just below here, this is going to be open in 2019. So we're very, very close to moving in a new part of the campus. That this is the one you see on the bottom of the slide. What we are trying to do, we are molding a universities, obviously. Taking the best from our past, leveraging on our roots, on the values of our founders, but also obviously transforming and adapting our model to the challenges and to pursue our aspirations. Aspirations which are essentially in this university, the idea to create a research and educational context that we want vital, we want dynamic, we want inclusive, delivering cutting-edge knowledge, and departments such as the Department of Accounting play a fundamental role in this, but also able to nurture and foster a new generation of responsible leaders. So this is the scope of the university. So we are a European university with global standing, and the broad context of social sciences. Traditionally starting in economics and management, and then expanding the scope into data science, political science, and legal studies as well. So these are some numbers. Founded in 1902, we have almost 14,000 students, including undergraduate students and what we call graduate students, essentially according to the university system Bologna Declaration, Master of Science students, master students. And then in the School of Management, around 10,000 executives every year attending MBA, executive MBAs and executive programs. So the idea we have about our role is to, and the key words of our vision about the future are here. So innovation, rigor in both research and education, but also relevance. We want to be linked with the business community. We want to have also an international scope, and our values are meritocracy, responsibility, and respect for all kinds of diversity. So Bocconi is a family name. So Ferdinando Bocconi was our founder. He was an entrepreneur. He was the owner of Magazzini Bocconi, now known as La Rinascente, which is a department store that you can find just very close to the Dome. Interesting story. He was a very rich man, very smart, not precisely part of the elite of the city that at that time was dominated by people with both a scientific or a technical background. But since he was a businessman, he realized that it would have been important to promote economics and management at the same cultural level of other sciences. That's the reason why he founded the university, specialized just on economics and management. And essentially the idea was precisely to give to these two disciplines the possibility to be culturally legitimized and institutionalized. And because obviously he believed that both economics and management at that time deserved this kind of legitimation and this kind of scientific status. And since the very beginning of the university, a group of scholars, particularly not for economics, but for the business side, they were essentially growing around three pillars: management, organization, and accounting. So accounting was and still is a fundamental group in this university. So our organization is pretty simple. We are a matrix. We have schools, so the undergraduate, the graduate, as I said, +2, Master of Science. Then we have the law school. The School of Law is vertical because the curricula is around 5 years, so it's the only vertical. And then we have the PhD school. Only 200 students attending PhD programs in all the disciplines that we have, including accounting. And then the Sta Bocconi School of Management, that is founded in 1971, specialized on what we call post-experience, essentially from MBA to all kind of executive education. So obviously we compete with all other universities into this rankings. I saw a lot of papers talking about, obviously, how can we capture the quality of organization. We know that rankings are not precisely perfect in capturing the quality of a university, but this is the competition which we are, and we want to play. We want to play a role there, not an ancillary role. So these are just some numbers about our rankings. This is the World, the QS, and then we have all the FT, as you know, very, very well. Our faculty, Miles says something about the Department of Accounting, is composed by 350 permanent faculty members, so tenure track and tenured, plus 550 of what we call adjunct professor, who play a fundamental role in helping us, obviously, to deliver the teaching that we offer to our 14,000 students. These are our departments. Together with the accounting, we have legal studies, social and political sciences, economics, decision science, management, technology. It's a very broad department that includes strategy, entrepreneurship, organization, whatever. Finance, accounting, obviously, finance, and marketing. It's a matrix in which typically the human capital is owned by the departments and offered to the schools which offer the program to the market. So our international vocation is pretty old, since the beginning of the university, since the foundation. Now we have almost 260 academic partners. We have a very large community of alumni, almost 100,000 people working all over the world, what we call Bocconians. And also, we have this year around 2,000, more than 2,000 foreign students coming from other countries. And if we consider also the exchange students, we have 1,800 more international students. So in fact, you can capture people here using different languages here in the campus. So the employment rates of Bocconi students, graduate and undergraduate, is around 94%. Before I obviously I wish you the best for the conference, let me say thank you so much to our wonderful colleagues, my wonderful colleagues. Miles obviously said something about the A team, so Ariela, Angelo, and Alisa, but let me say thanks to Miles, because I think he played an important role, and also the other colleagues of the department, Mara, Francesco, Claudio, Antonio, Angela, Gabriel Pereira, Gianfranco. I wish you the best for obviously the conference, but also for professional life. Thank you so much for coming, and enjoy the conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce now Professor Philip Joos, President of the European Accounting Association.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the annual Congress of the EAA, and as Miles already indicated, you are with almost 1,700 delegates this year here in Milan, and especially the year that marks our 40th anniversary that was mentioned also. This is clearly a record number of participants, and it definitely posed quite some challenges. So this is surpassing our best scenario in terms of numbers of participants. We definitely celebrate the anniversary of our association, and it was made possible, also this great conference and in this anniversary year, because we have not only a great local organizing team, but we have a whole organization behind it, starting with the Standing Scientific Committee, with 255 reviewers. We have 108 discussants discussing papers in the parallel sessions, and that definitely makes the quality of this conference pretty high. Now, allow me also to thank a few people, and it has been done before, but I will start, of course, with the Congress Chair, Miles Gitzman. And Miles, if I can actually allow you to come to the podium, because I have a little gift for you. The team of Miles is apparently twice referred to as the A team, but I tried to actually figure out the three people, and it's both, the three people have a first name starting with an A, so it's actually the triple A team. Now, I was thinking, this is an EAA conference, our anniversary year, maybe that's the wrong acronym, so I prefer the A team. The A team is good. So thanks a lot actually for working with us. This is not only a matter of a few months. No, this has been work for the last 2 years. And you've been updating the association in Brussels, our meetings over the last 2 years, and things have been going well and pretty smooth. But as you indicated also yesterday during our management committee meeting, it's similar to a wedding. The last few months, then suddenly unexpected things starting to happen and so on, and then you eventually all is well, but it's pretty stressful, and thanks for doing such a good job with the Bocconi team. As I said, apart from the great team here in Milan, a very important team works in Brussels, and that's under the leadership of our Executive Secretary, Nicole Koopman. So may I ask a little applause for Nicole? And there are many people involved in the association in terms of EAA committees, board members, and also the management committee. And this is a whole association based on volunteers. And I must say it has been extremely nice for me to work with very inspiring colleagues who devote a lot of time for the association. And this is why we definitely can grow and realize our ambitions. So thank you very much for doing such a good job. Now, all of you, of course, contribute to the success of this conference and the high quality of this conference. So we saw the high number of submissions. We had a selection mechanism that selected 80% of the papers. And then apart from that, we have like a doctoral colloquium where we have 36 students. We had this morning the PhD forum where we had 183 PhDs and young scholars, postdocs and assistant professors. And this is all getting a lot of vibe actually here in Milan. So let me reflect a little bit on the 40-year anniversary. Apart from the elements that Miles indicated, the special event this evening at the opening session, or the opening reception, and the big surprise we have, so please come this evening to the opening reception. We also thought about providing you with 2 additional documents. And the first one is the flyer that you all received. So it's a 4-page document where you have the facts and figures on the association. It's a bit of history. It's an overview of the key elements, what we do, what we stand for, and it's also giving you a nice, very concise way of showing our ambitions for the next few years. So please have a look at the flyer, because sometimes these things get unnoticed. The second part is the other little booklet you received. That's the reflections on the 40-year history. It's not only a historic piece, but it has 7 great short articles, because we know short is good, less is more. So it's 7 short articles on milestones for the association. And also, of course, looking forward, like what can you expect, maybe not in the next 40 years, because that's a little bit challenging, but especially for the next 10 years. And that's definitely written by 12 of our dear colleagues who devoted some time to write these very sharp pieces. I can even show you the titles, but you have the booklet, and you see these are well-respected scholars, not only from Europe, but Steve Zeff has been one of our long-standing members of the association, and he wrote a fantastic historic piece. So thank you very much for all the contributors, and many of you are sitting here in the room for writing these insights on the association. Let me now, maybe I can walk a little bit. Yeah, it's on? Okay. Let me now go through a few facts and some trends that we noticed for the association. The collection of articles we named Diversity and Excellence. And this is the 2 great elements of the EAA, is that we always strive for diversity and excellence. But what does it mean? Well, the first thing when you think about diversity is geographic diversity. We've seen quite a change in the composition of our membership. And from a small European association with 50 members in Paris 40 years ago, we grew to a larger association of more than 2,700 members. 2,600 members in 2018. We saw a spectacular growth in the last 10 years, a growth of 60%, and the growth has been quite different across the different parts of the world. So one of the growth areas for us is the Asian area. So as you can see in this little graph over there, 15% of our members come from Asia. Another growth area, which is even further away, is coming from New Zealand and Australia. We have many, many members actually coming from these countries to our events, and our annual Congress, but also participating in activities of the EAA. And then we have many American friends, North American friends, and also from Canada, showing up as 9 plus 4%, 13% of our membership is from North America. Other areas are definitely also developing, so we see growth everywhere, but it's a little bit varying across this map. The biggest growth country in Europe has been Germany. So in the last 10 years, the German membership grew enormously and is now being the largest membership country with 12%. Now that's geographic diversity. I mean, that's good. And so 60% is now European and 40% is non-European. But what has been extremely important for the association is the diversity in research, the paradigms. And every different philosophy, every paradigm should actually have a platform where you have a good, high-quality discussion here at our annual conference. And as you can see on the right of this slide, you see an overview of the number of parallel sessions, the number of research fora, and then you see all the different research areas. So we see like a very nice dispersion there. Lastly, on the bottom of the slide, you see diversity in experience, we call it. I was looking for the right word, but experience seems to be right. So we as an association want to invest a lot, and also financially invest a lot in young people, young scholars. And although it was said before that accounting is a very important discipline, we can actually say this, and we all believe this, because that's, I mean, we are a little bit biased here. But it's extremely important for us as an association to keep investing in the new generation. And this is why we have all these initiatives organized for PhD students and young scholars. As I said, we had 183 young people this morning at the PhD Forum. Let me go to the next slide. Academic developments, a few more details. The doctoral colloquium has been a tradition since 1985. The first one organized in Brussels. And since then, when you look at the alumni of the doctoral colloquium, we have more than 700 people who graduated from the doctoral colloquium, taught by 50 faculty members. And now in the current doctoral colloquium that ended yesterday, we have 5 new faculty members who participated and contributed for 3 full days to the doctoral colloquium experience for these 36 students. So this is good. That's very good. But we not only look at the development at the part of the PhD Forum and the doctoral colloquium, but we look at the job market itself. And this is where the association plays an important role, we think, where we invested already for the last 3 years in organizing a wonderful talent workshop, a job market for accounting researchers within Europe, but it's a global market. And of course, the US has a longer tradition in this. You have the Miami job market in December. But when we started in 2015 with the European version of the job market, we immediately had, as you can see in the middle of the slide, we had 40 candidates going to Madrid, and we had 36 recruiting institutions interviewing these candidates. I was there last November with 40 other institutions and 68 other colleagues, recruiters, and this was a wonderful experience. It's very intense, but all these job candidates actually got multiple offers. They definitely were connected to many new and future colleagues, and this is a great experience that we want to cherish and that we want to expand in the future. And lastly on this slide, the ARC Peer Mentoring Initiative. It seems that awareness about this new initiative that we started in November last year is relatively low, and this is why I'm kind of using this platform to
show you that this Accounting Research Center that we launched last year in the Valencia conference has a specific element that is catering to starting PhD students. And the most difficult part for the starting PhD students is to write a good research proposal with a good framework, good methodology, a well-formulated research question. And not everybody is a PhD student at an institution where you immediately get a great feedback from different angles. And this is what we started introducing here. It's a way to submit a research proposal to a panel with great experts in all the different research areas, and you get high-level expert advice on what to do, how to change your research question, research methodology, and these types of things. This is completely free, so you don't have to pay for it. You only have to register at the ARC website, and then you start participating. So please spread the news that this is a great free initiative of the European Accounting Association. And it's supported by all the technology that is also used for the publication process of submitting papers. I mentioned it already, the Accounting Research Center, that's another flyer in your package, and we have a special stand here where the publishers are on the ARC. There is always someone standing there. So if you have a question and you walk around there in that area, you can always ask questions there. So we have PhD students there and colleagues standing there. Actually, the editor or the chief of the ARC, Giovanna Michelon, is actually standing there right now, kind of helping some people with some information about the ARC. This is the platform, the opening site of this platform, and as you can see, you have different elements there. The contributions of our colleagues, senior colleagues, are great. Like you see at the bottom in the middle, research, evidence-based policy making, and we have Christian Lloyds who contributed a very nice blog on evidence-based policy making. So very influential, and you can read it, and we have many more of these blogs in different areas on research methods and other things. We have a Twitter page where we can use the social media to establish certain connections with external parties, with other academic parties, and with the ARC members themselves, of course. Now, and you have the link to the website on the bottom. Let me end by showing in a concise way what this Accounting Research Center is doing. When you think about it, it's very simple. We are moving quite rapidly in the way we operate, in the way we conduct our research, but also in the way we teach. We are moving towards like a blended society. And the next speaker is about blockchains, which is a revolution, actually another revolution in the world. And the ARC is an answer to this, this challenge. We cannot only depend on one physical annual congress. We need to actually move into a continuous dialogue with the accounting research community globally. And this is what the ARC is doing. And we need to provide a repository, what you can see. You can market yourself by writing blogs. You receive likes. You can refer to each other. You have the peer mentoring initiative that I already introduced. You have a forum. Some young scholars might actually be stuck at some point, and you can actually ask questions, so you can have a small discussion. And last but not least, the events overview is something that we noticed several years ago when we started thinking about this initiative. It's often difficult to know where things are organized, where interesting accounting workshops are organized. And even for the organizers themselves, they sometimes do not attract enough people or the right people. We provide a platform, and we have the most extensive list of accounting-related events, research-related events in the world, and that's all kind of for free on this website. So if you organize something and you want to have more exposure, please go to the ARC, and there it's sent to all the members of the ARC. So this is what I wanted to say about the initiatives of the European Accounting Association. I wish you all a very fruitful and interesting and inspiring conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome now on stage the keynote speaker, Mr. Paolo Gianturco.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank Professor Miles Gitzman, his team, University of Bocconi, Accounting Association, to invite me here talking about blockchain, the future of a blockchain. And moreover, for me it's a great pleasure, a privilege to be here, also because I graduated here. I'm very young, so it's not so long time, it's not so old, my graduating. And when I was preparing the speech, I realized that my thesis was on the analytical accounting to manage intangible assets. I was surprised because today, after few years, I'm talking about intangible assets to manage accounting. It's incredible. I was amazing about that. So today I have many challenges, and the most important is that I have to talk about blockchain innovation in 30 minutes. It's a complex topic. I'm sure that you know, most of you know about blockchain, you heard about blockchain, and also because I'm so happy because we have a common mission. I think that we have to educate our young people in the business community and in the academy about the innovation and how they can use the innovation to build a better world. So I think it's really important to share this information. Today, I decided to present 4 sections. First, the origins of a blockchain. The second is some basics about blockchain. The use cases, and finally, why I think blockchain will change the future. Whoa, what's happening? Why this kid is so surprised? Because of a blockchain? Because of a Bitcoin? I don't know. But the reality is that blockchain, it's not a surprise. Maybe few people know the origins of a blockchain. Blockchain wasn't appear in one day, in 1 year. It was the result of several attempts. So my first point, the origins. The history started in 1983. This guy, David Chaum, thought about eCash. He published a paper about anonymous transactions in internet without using banks or other financial institutions. He also created a site, DigiCash. So the first step, creating a protocol to have anonymous transactions on internet. Second attempt, Hashcash, nothing about payments. This is something for me, amazing when I think about innovation. This guy, Adam Beck, one of the most important experts of Bitcoin Core and blockchain, in that year wanted to solve a problem that we have today, still today, the spam emails. We receive a lot of emails that we don't want to receive. So he thought that if the sender of an email, obviously the computer or the server, has to solve a medium complex problem using the sender identity, the receiver identity, and the body of the message. For instance, 2 seconds to find the solution, while the receiver, when get the message, can check in a moment. So he thought that if the spam servers should spend a lot of energy, computational time, to send millions of messages, he could stop the spam emails. Unluckily, this kind of a solution was not applied in our servers, in Gmail or other email servers, but it was the basic of a proof of work that I'm going to explain to you later on, and it's one of the most important innovation in blockchain, proof of work. Third, Mr. Szabo. In 1998, this guy published a paper. He didn't produce any software with all the components. As I said before, I'm excited when I see how the innovation is a combination of a different solution in a new way. That is something I think is really important in our world. Changing processes and combinations. So this guy, Mr. Szabo, put all together peer-to-peer network, proof of work, anonymous transactions, and after that, we got Bitcoin paper. In November 2008, this guy, Satoshi Nakamoto, is an anonymous, maybe he's a guy or a group of people, published in November a paper, 20 pages, about this protocol, a Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system to transfer tokens, the so-called Bitcoin. And the incredible fact is that on the 3rd of January 2009, he published the software that is still working. We know that there are a lot of discussion on Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other cryptocurrency, but it's still working. And another amazing point is that some experts told me that just the 50% of the original code is already is still in this software, because there is a community, because it's an open software. There is a community developing release after release. So in 2009, we had the first real and running application of a blockchain. That is the technology we think will change the world. In this slide, I want to share with you that we don't know if Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, there are thousands of cryptocurrency will survive. We don't know. We know that there is a lot of speculation on cryptocurrencies. But this technology, worth, has a value. Now, because of the volatile prices, now worth like the GDP, more than the GDP of Greece, is about 1% of the GDP of the main countries in the world. So the technology has a value. For that reason, we need to understand what's happening. Second part of my presentation, basics. Now I'm going in the complexity. I asked Gabriel to stop me because I'm passionate about this technology, so I asked him to show me the minutes, otherwise I can take you here for hours. Basic of a blockchain. First, definition. What's blockchain is? Blockchain is a distributed ledger. That means a database shared between parties that permits to transfer digital assets or information in a peer-to-peer network without a central authority. This is important, without a central authority. And the main applications we think are real are two. One is the cryptocurrency or crypto markets, so managing these tokens as Bitcoin, Ethereum. But the other one is managing immutable information and transactions, maybe also accounting transactions, bookkeeping transactions. And why today we are talking about blockchain, and I thank again Association Miles, Bocconi, to give myself this opportunity. Because a community like yours, a finance community, I think, has to understand this technology and how this technology can be used in the accounting processes, but also in other business and operational processes. Because the accounting, you know better than me, has to record what's happened in the company. I talked about blockchain for the last 2 years, and I try to explain the best way, in the simplest way. I apologize, it's not easy for me. I think that the Satoshi formula is based on 3 components. The first is cryptography. And I can say that blockchain is the largest non-military cryptography application in the world. If you look at the cryptography used in blockchain, is very high level. Second, blockchain, the chain of blocks. That is the core, what we heard, blockchain, based on a network and peer-to-peer network. And finally, the proof of work. You remember emails, Adam Beck, proof of work. We will explain after. And I think that the proof of work with blockchain and Bitcoin started because of 2 features. He put together game theory and monetary theory. Okay, let's start to explain. First, cryptography. As I said before, and as I will explain when I will talk about blocks, we are in a peer-to-peer network. Again, there is no central authorities. There is no one managing our accounts or the transactions. So we have some questions. How can I create an account, a wallet? And how can I be sure that my wallet, my account, is unique? There is no authority. There is no one saying, your account, it's yours, because I checked Paolo Gianturco with other people in the database. And second, how can I transact? How can I send transactions and being sure that the sender can send the transaction and the receiver will receive something, the token? they use cryptography and statistical tools. They use cryptography because of creation of the account. The account is created because of a statistical formula and cryptography. And this was, when I thought about these features, I don't want to bother you, but I was a little bit impressed, maybe also my colleague from accounting, because it's by chance. So your account, your wallet is by chance, but the possibility that another guy will get the same account is quite impossible or impossible. In any case, I don't want to go deep because otherwise the time runs out very quickly. So the first component is cryptography and statistical tools. There is a software doing that. There is no central authority. Second part, you remember blocks, chain of blocks. 3 slides on this concept, the core of a blockchain. In this slide on the left, you see that the normal, traditional, I used to work with banks and insurance, so I know this word. There is central parties that has the right to manage accounts, to transfer, they know each other, and so they can transfer money, but also other information in a very secure way. Or in any case, there is a system administrator who secure the network, check if any hacker or criminal want to enter in the system. And you know that companies spend a lot of time for the cyber attacks. On the right, we have this kind of peer-to-peer network, transferring important information like accounts, money. So the first concept is that we have 2 kinds of nodes, or the nodes can have 2 main features. One is to transfer information, our payments. The second, to certify the transaction, what we call proof of work or miners. Again, I explain again. This network, like blockchain, Bitcoin, or Ethereum, or others, is open. Anyone can enter without any permission. Anyone can go out without any penalty. It's open. When you enter, all of you can open a node. When you enter in the network, you can do 2 things: transfer information or validate the transaction. Going on, when Satoshi Nakamoto published the software on the 3rd of January 2009, and also for any kind of a blockchain, he started with the Genesis block, the first block, block number 0. It's interesting that he put a title from the Times newspaper. Times newspaper published on the same date of the Genesis block, just to be sure that the Genesis block was generated in that date. Then what happened in the blockchain? That the fingerprint of the Genesis block, that means, how can I explain? The fingerprint is a digital value that is unique and is related to the Genesis block like other blocks, is put in the block number 1. And then the digital fingerprint of a block 1 is put in block number 2. And so for the following blocks. So all the blocks contain the fingerprint of the previous block. So it's a chain. For that meaning, for that reason, we are talking about blockchain. Every block has an header, the fingerprint, and the body that are the transactions. The question is normal. Why I have to concatenate all these blocks? For the security. You remember that I said there is no a system administrator managing the security of this system. It's open. It's on the internet. The blockchain secures the information. Let me explain this example. If an hacker wants to change a block, the red block, number 74, he has to change all the blocks till the yellow one. And to do that, he spends a lot of energy, a lot of computational effort. In a simple way, it's not possible with the actual computers that we have in the world. So if in the red block there is the transfer of my money to another guy, and someone wants to get my money, he should change all the blocks. It's not feasible to do that. I have to run a little bit. Third point, proof of work. The last question, who will validate the blocks and why these guys should validate the block? So first, who will validate the blocks? The validation of a block means to find the solution to lock the block and so to secure the blockchain. In the Satoshi formula, this kind of a function is called miners, and the miners validate the blocks because they gain a token, Bitcoin, the first blockchain, and because the issuing of Bitcoin is kept, is 21 million of Bitcoin, there is a sort of deflationary economy policy. So if people think that Bitcoin or any other token has a value, this value should increase. And so they can pay the energy and the computers to do that. Now, use cases. Third part of my presentation. There are several use cases in financial services, cross-industry, or in specific industries. But again, as we understood in the last convention, there is one of the most important conventions on blockchain is called Consensus. It's in New York every year. In this convention, we saw that there are two kinds of use cases, as I said before. One is crypto markets, that I'm not going to talk now. The other are what we call a combination of a token economies and industry process revamping. So how can I combine the features of a blockchain to change processes, also the accounting processes? For that reason, I want to start with the first use cases that also we used in a real world, that is the timestamping. The timestamping is it's the immutable information providing a temporal order among a set of events. You can use the timestamping, you can use the blockchain to fix and to validate information that can be used for several use cases. Now there will be a video. In the video there is a sort of recall of some basics I tried to give you before, and also something about these use cases.
What is a timestamp? A timestamp proves that information existed prior to some point in time. With this aim, timestamps are used to demonstrate the integrity and immutability of any kind of information. But what if you have a solution that can also guarantee auditability and cost-effectiveness without third parties? Blockchain is the groundbreaking technology that natively brings you all these features. Here's how it works. The block is the key element of a blockchain. It can store any value representative of any set of data, and once it's ready, it's validated by the network, who deems it as appropriate. Every time the network validates a block, which involves resolving a difficult cryptographic puzzle, it is added to the blockchain and can't be removed. Any single file can be reduced to its hash value, a unique string obtained using a strong hash function, which we can imagine as the file's digital fingerprint. The hash value is then inserted, together with the other hash values, into the block. This block, with its content, is validated and appended to the blockchain. Every time this happens, the block is provided with a date and time value, which will benefit the immutability feature of the blockchain. And this extends to the content of the block, including the original file's hash value that can be verified by anyone who possesses it. How will this help in real-life examples? In postal services, the existence, status, and tracking of a message can be replaced by timestamping the message itself on the blockchain through every moment of its life. A notary's act can be replaced by its digital fingerprint, hash value, timestamped on the blockchain, ensuring the existence of the document before a certain time. You can also recognize data breaches or data tampering by comparing the hash values of your personal files with the one previously added into a block. The blockchain timestamping is one of the use cases designed, developed, and delivered to our clients by the EMEA Grid Blockchain Lab.
I hope that the video was clear. There are some basics that I explained before and also use cases. You can imagine that with timestamping, you can simplify certification and identities. You can use it for communication through the postal services. And also, you can use timestamping for private certification, like also the property of cars. We used timestamping also in banks to comply with some regulation. So, timestamping, other two features that we can use. The second feature is smart contracts. In the software, you can code contracts. You can code contracts, you can manage automatically some events, also paying something. Smart contracts can be used for a lot of processes and a lot of situations. We can use smart contract for trade finance, we can use for accounting, we can use for insurance. And the point here, how we can manage these in a very common way. This is the challenge. On the right, we have also what we call initial coin offer that are based on token. So we have timestamping, notarization, smart contracts, automatic events, and tokens that can be included in some business and operational processes. For instance, connection between devices over internet. They can exchange protocols and information automatically and also payments. Think about the marketing connections on digital channels. So when I think about blockchain, I think about blockchain in the future. Just to conclude my presentation and to try to give an answer to why blockchain will change our future, excluding the cryptocurrencies and the crypto markets. I see that the first step could be timestamping, and we can use in several use cases also now. After timestamping, I see smart contracts and tokens. Together with timestamping, automatic contracts and tokens, I can simplify some processes. And finally, putting all together, we can transfer rights. There will be a time where some rights could be transferred with blockchain. So, hoping that I gave you the main basics of a blockchain and the origins, and also why blockchain started and the futures, maybe now we can answer to the final question, why I think we could think that blockchain will change our future. I want to start from internet. You know that internet was created more or less 30 years ago, and internet was a disruption in our life. Why? Because we can exchange information. Thanks to internet, information are free, can be transferred very easily, maybe can be also copied, replicated. And this kind of spread of information push us in a new way, a new cultural level. We know also that one of the pain of internet is that information sometimes are fake, are not stable, they can be changed, they can't be used to transfer rights, like money or other rights, because information can be copied, and money shouldn't be copied. So what's the missing part in the picture? Again, in Internet Web 2.0, information are spread, copying information, replicating, streamlining, maybe also with unstable information, fake information, while I see web blockchain. Web blockchain is a new asset, is a new features that permit in internet to have immutable information that is useful for some rights, like money, but property or other documents. And so my conclusions are, after internet, web 4.0, I don't know, we will see web blockchain. Web blockchain means immutable information, information that are validated. And this could be done in an open world. For me, web blockchain is two rights, what Web 2.0 or 4.0 was to information. So I want to leave with two concepts. I think that we will evolve from replicated information, copied information, to an immutable information. Thank you.